Hello everyone. So today in this video we are going to discuss about your behavioral control. So first coming to your, what do you mean by this behavioral control? Anyway, control term is there, that means we have to manage the pest or we have to control the pest. How? By exploiting or utilizing the behavior of the insect. You see, suppose the insect are behaving in such a way, and we have to understand the behavior and we have to use the behavior for reduction of the pest is known as what? Your behavioral control. Okay, so what is that? The study of behavior regulating chemicals, which is known as what? Your semiochemicals, and exploiting those semiochemicals for the insect pest control is known as your what? Behavioral control. Okay. In general, what happen in case of insect, these chemical communications are the primary mode of communication or information transfer. Okay, so this semiochemical, what is the semiochemical? Now we will understand. First thing is, the synonym of semiochemical is your infochemicals. Okay, infochemical, informational chemicals. Okay, so what is a infochemical or semiochemical? These are the chemical substances or some mixture of chemical substances. What they do? They mediate communication, okay, between organisms, that may be between two different organisms or in between the same species. Okay, that is your semiochemical. Okay, so it came from this Greek word, that is your someone or semion. You can tell what is the meaning of that? A mark of a signal. That is your what? Semiochemical. Okay, and we can use this semiochemical, okay, which plays important role in insect behavior, like how they search their food, their sexual partners, where they will lay their eggs, their defensive activities, anti-predatory mechanism, predatory mechanism. So many things are there, okay, which behaves to this external stimuli, surroundings, and also to the natural enemies, biotic factor. Those are your what? Semiochemicals, otherwise known as infochemicals. So now you see the classification of that. Semiochemicals are divided into two types. What are those? One is intraspecific, one is interspecific. So many times we already have discussed what are these things, what is intraspecific and what is interspecific. Okay, you can watch my ecological videos, insect ecology videos. There everything we have discussed very nicely regarding this intra and interspecific. Intraspecific means what? The communication in between the individuals of the same species, between the species. And what is inter? In between two different species. Okay, so that is what your interspecific communication. So semiochemicals which mediate communication between same species, within the species, those are pheromone, and in between two different species, that is your allelochemicals. Okay, that is what your allelochemicals. Okay, it may not be visible, you say. Okay, now, okay, so these are the things. One is your pheromone, another one is your allelochemical. Pheromone is also known as your ectohormone. Why? I will tell you. Okay, so again, pheromones are divided into two types. One is releaser, one is primer. What are these things? Again, I will tell you. Then allelochemicals are divided into allomone, chiromone, and cinnamon. Again, apneumon. So many things are there. Other things came up. Okay, but basically these three things are there. What is this sender positive, receiver positive? Those things again I will tell you. Okay, so these are the things. This is the introduction to your semiochemicals. Okay, now coming to your pheromone. Practically we will go for intraspecific semiochemicals. Okay, so what is a pheromone? You see, it is a chemical or a mixture of chemicals. It may be a single chemical or may be a mixture of chemicals. Okay, released by one organism. One organism will produce to outside the environment. That's why it is known as what? Your ectohormone. Hormone will be released outside. That's why it is known as what? Your ectohormone. Okay, why? To cause a specific reaction in the receiving organism of the same species. Here you see, that is of the same species. That is the difference between pheromone and allochemicals. Here in between the same species, one organism will produce the pheromone, the hormone to outside, that's why known as ectohormone, which will be perceived by individuals of the same species, another individual of the same species, and some behavior will be created, okay, to do specific things, okay. That is known as what your pheromone, the chemical which mediate this communication in between individuals of the same species, that is known as your what, pheromone. In generally they are volatile in nature and they aids in communication among the insect of same species, okay. This is exocrine in origin, that means secreted outside the body, that's why they are known as the ectohormone. It may come in the exam, ectohormone. First time two scientists were there, Carlson and Butenandt, in 1959. They have isolated and identified the first pheromone, that is a sex pheromone, okay, from the silkworm moth. They also coined the term pheromone. It may come in the short question, okay. Derived from two Greek words, those are your pherein, that means to carry, and hormone, to excite or to elicit, that means pherein hormone, that means what will happen, they will carry the information which will elicit some behavior in the recipient organism of the same species, that is your what, pherein hormone, to carry, to excite or to elicit, okay. It may also come in the exam, short questions. Then based on the responses elicited, one organism has secreted the hormone, okay. Based on the how the other organism is receiving, it is again classified into two groups. One is primer pheromone, another one is releaser pheromone. You see the term is primer. Suppose two organisms are there, this one is this one, okay. So this one has released the hormone outside the body, that's why known as your ectohormone, and this one will perceive the hormone, okay. Then what will happen, this pheromone will enter into the insect, however it may be, and it will go through a series of actions, okay, after which what will happen, the behavior will be come up in this receiving organism. This is known as what, your primer pheromone. What is releaser? This organism will secrete, okay, within a very specific time, another organism will perceive that pheromone, and immediately the behavior will be triggered in this insect, that is known as what, your releaser pheromone. Understood? This is the concept of primer and releaser. Now come to the theory portion. Okay, you see, primer means what? They will trigger a chain of physiological changes in the recipient. That means not an immediate effect. Okay, so many things, physiological process will, when the pheromone will enter into the insect, it will go through different kind of physiological changes, and slowly the behavior will be impacted on the recipient organism. Okay, they generally act through your gustatory, through this taste, through feeding. Okay, like for example, case determination in case of social insect, and reproduction in case of social insect like ants, bees, wasps, termites. Okay, this is mediated by your primer pheromone, and generally as it is taking a long time to just imprint the behavior in the recipient organism, it is not that much useful for IPM. Okay, but in case of releaser pheromone, there what will happen? Whenever the insect is producing the hormone outside, producing the pheromone outside, within very specific time what will happen? The recipient organism will take it, and immediately the effect will be produced in the recipient organism. Okay, just like your sex pheromone, your aggregation pheromone, alarm pheromone, okay, trail pheromone, these things happen very quickly, and as they are happening very quickly, we can use it for IPM practices. We can use it to just disturb the insect in a way that we want. Suppose one ants should not go to sugar, then what we need to do? We will do something in such a way that ants cannot think that that is sugar. Yes or no? Those things are what your use of pheromone. Just like pheromone trap, you might have known those things. Okay, there what will happen? To the female pheromones, males will go, but inside your pheromone trap, no females will be there. Only the synthetic pheromone will be there, and those males will go enter into that and they will be trapped. Okay, so these are the concept. Then first coming to your this sex pheromone. Okay, sex pheromone, what is that? That means this will be released by one sex only, and this will trigger the behavior pattern in the other sex. That means if female is producing the pheromone, okay, then male will perceive the pheromone and it will elicit some response in the male insect. Females won't come, but males will come. Males will be triggered by this pheromone. Okay, and mostly this is released by females only, but in some cases males also produce. Okay, just like this is 3:1. Okay, if 4 members are there, then most of the cases females will produce. Only 1% chance is there, 25% chance is there that males also produce in some of the insect. Okay, just like your aphrodisiacs. What are those? These are the substance that aid in courtship of the insect. Okay, when the sexes are, that means when female and male will come together, okay, at that time with this aphrodisiacs, these are the substance which help in just initiation of the mating process. Okay, and in many cases males produce aphrodisiacs. Okay, you see some properties are there like range. Okay, in case of female they act as long range, but in case of male that is short distance. Okay, role of the other stimuli here plays less role, but in case of male sex hormone, the female must have a well developed visual and auditory stimuli. But in case of when the female is producing, no other things plays the role. Only that female pheromone is sufficient to attract the males, but it is not that much easy for male pheromones. Okay, action elicited in other sex. How? Here what will happen when female produce the pheromone, attracts and excites male to copulate. But in case of male, what will happen when male will produce the pheromone? Then what will happen? This will lowers the resistance of the female. Okay, for mating. If one female is resisting, then due to this production of this male pheromone, the resistance will be reduced. Okay, female pheromones are more important and male sex pheromones are less important. That means it is having less importance for pest management. Mostly these female sex pheromones are used for your insect pest management. Different orders like Lepidoptera, Orthoptera, UC, Dictyoptera, Diptera, Coleoptera, so many are there. They are producing the pheromones, sex pheromones. Okay, so now we will discuss about this pheromone producing glands. What are the glands are there in case of insect which are producing your pheromone? Okay, just like you can see in case of so many Lepidopteran insect, okay, in their female, they have some this eversible glands which are ectodermal in origin. That's why known as your exocrine glands. Okay, those are present at the tip of the abdomen. They produce the sex pheromone in case of female. Okay, tip of their abdomen in case of female. And there what happens, one specific term is there, that is your culling position. That means whenever the female moths will produce this pheromone from their eversible glands, okay, they will show a posture just like a culling position. Okay, that means they are producing the hormone, they are calling the males for mating. Okay, that is known as what your culling position. Here you can see, just note it down. Then again in case of males, you see they are two modification. One is aphrodisiac, another one is your androconia. In some of the male insect like your male butterfly of Danas, that is a genus name, they have this scent brush. Okay, at the tip of the abdomen they have some scent brush which are having some hair pencils. Okay, they produce the they act as the aphrodisiacs which produce the male sex pheromone. Again in case of other male moth, what happens, they have the androconia. Those are present at the wings on their glandular scale of wings. Okay, they produce the male sex pheromone. This is the difference between female and male, how they are producing the sex pheromone. Then pheromone receptions. Okay, how they just perceive the pheromone. Okay, how the female will produce, you understood, from their glands, eversible glands or androconia or your aphrodisiacs. Now coming to your how they perceive that one. Okay, suppose here you see this is the female. This female has produced the sex pheromone. Okay, so this is the male. Okay, this volatile has been just spread on the environment. So gradually when the males are going towards the female, okay, gradually what will happen, time to time the concentration of the hormone will increase. Okay, like this it will go. But suppose what happened, the male has crossed the female person area, then what will happen, again the concentration will go on decreasing. So what will happen, at the point where the concentration will be maximum, at that time what will happen, these males will be stopped, and at this place they will try to find the female, then they can locate the female, then they can go for copulation. Understood? Similarly, what happens, as compared to the female, males have broader antenna so that they can accommodate more number of olfactory sensilla. Generally, in case of a releaser pheromone, they have the olfactory stimuli. That means volatile will be secreted in the environment and that will be perceived by the males. Olfactory stimulation will be there. Okay, like this they generally perceive the stimuli. You see, this one is important. Butenandt and Carlson and his co-worker in 1959, they have isolated 12 milligram of this pheromone, okay, from the abdomen of 500,000 virgin females of your silkworm. You see how much number of females are required to produce only 12 milligram of pheromone, okay, and they have named the pheromone as bombicol. This is important, bombicol. Why? Because the scientific name is Bombyx mori, from which it is known as what, your bombicol. Okay, and the chemical name is your 10,12 hexadecadienol, and it is primarily a alcohol. Okay, 10,12 hexadecadienol, which is your bombicol, extracted from the virgin females, and it attracts male moths of Bombyx mori silkworm. I hope you understood all of these things. Then coming to the next portion. Okay, some examples are there of different sex pheromones identified from different insect, like your gossip lure. Okay, JD and ZZ 711 hexadecadienyl acetate, 1:1 ratio. Then your helilure, that is Z9 hexadecanal and Z9 hexadecanal 97:3. Okay, like that so many are there. You can see here. You see for which insect also I have given here, and in this table everything is mentioned. Silkworm, bombicol; gypsy moth, gyp lure; pink bollworm, that is your Pectinophora gossipera, that's why the name is gossip lure. Okay, then cabbage looper, loop lure; then your tobacco cutworm, spot lure, leet lure; Helicorpa armigera, helilure; honeybees, that is your queen substance. Those things we will understand in the economic entomology. Cotton boll weevil, this is an exceptional case because the lure is known as grand lure, but that is produced by the male. Okay, you see, majority of sex pheromone are released by the female species except cotton boll weevil, Anthonymous grandis, cabbage looper, Trichoplusiani, and Mediterranean fruit fly, Ceratitis capitata, red palm weevil, banana cone weevil, where male produces the sex pheromone. In these insect, males produce the sex pheromone, but in other cases, females produce the sex pheromone. Understood? And you see, in case of cotton boll weevil, you can tell red palm weevil, rhinoceros beetle, those are also acting as aggregation pheromone. They also act for aggregation. Okay, red palm weevil, that is your cosmolure, sordidine aggregation pheromone also. So these are the example of you see gossip lure. This is the chemical names. Okay, chemicals names are not important. At least try to remember the pheromone names. It may come in the exam. Okay, these are important. Note it down. It may be helpful. Just remember that this Anthonymous grandis, that is from the male. Okay. Then now coming to your aggregation pheromone. Okay, what happens here? If this pheromone will be there somewhere, then to that point what will happen? All other members will just congregate. This is also within the species because this is pheromone. Okay, not allochemical. Here what will happen? Any one member, it may be male or female, will produce the pheromone at a particular point. If they prefer it suitable, they will just release the pheromone, so that what will happen? All other individuals of the same species or of the same colony, they will come together, aggregate at a particular place. They may use it for find their food or shelter. In those cases, they will use this aggregation pheromone. Okay, that may be released either by male or female, which will attract both male and female. Okay, and this is most common in case of Coleoptera orders and Dictyoptera order. Okay, it can be used in different pest control because here what will happen, you see what we can do. You just see by using this aggregation pheromone, what we can do, try to understand. Suppose this is a site, this is the plant, host plant of a particular insect. There they are producing this aggregation pheromone. What you have done synthetically, or you have taken this naturally occurring pheromone to a plant, okay, which is not suitable for this particular insect. The insect main host is this one, but you have tied the pheromone in some other plant which is a non-host or which is antagonistic to this insect. Then what will happen? Due to presence of the aggregation pheromone, insect will come towards this plant which is not their host. They will die due to starvation because they cannot feed upon the another host, non-host. Yes or no? So this is the role of your aggregation pheromone. Sometimes what you can do, we can take a trap, we will put this aggregation pheromone so that insect will come towards and we will make it poisoned. They will aggregate, they will feed, they will die. Understood? This is the use of your aggregation pheromone, how to use them. Just like you see, logs infested with bark beetle were tied to unsuitable host tree, because to this unsuitable host tree this bark beetle will go and they will die. Okay. Similarly, females of bark beetle, that is Dendroctonus frontalis, produce the aggregation pheromone, that is your frontalin, which attract both the sexes. Similarly, in case of phloem beetle, that is your Ips confuges, they produce some aggregation pheromone, that is your ipsenol. Okay, and where they keep it in their fecal matter. So when this fecal matter will be tied in a non-host tree, this phloem beetle will go towards that non-host tree and they will die due to starvation. Okay. Similarly, we can also use it against coconut rhinoceros beetle, red palm weevil. Okay, and we can go for trapping those insect or monitor of that particular insect. You see some of the aggregation pheromone names like your frontalin from Dendroctonus frontalis, ipsenol from Ips confuges, periplanon from Periplaneta americana, okay, like your cockroaches, then dimethyldecanol, that is for Tribolium confusum, that is a store grain pest. Okay, so for different insect, different aggregation pheromones are there. These are species specific. Okay. Now coming to your trail making pheromone. All of you know these things. You see the ants, how they are going? They are going in a trail. Why? Because they have the trail pheromone. They will just respect this. They will just go through this trail pheromone so that all will go to the food site. All will carry over the foods to their nest. Okay. This is their condition. Mostly for foraging ants and white ants, these are helpful. You see, in case of ants, that is your Formica rupa, formic acid is the trail pheromone, while in case of termites, that is your Jutermorpsis nevadensis, okay, they have the hexanoic acid as their trail making pheromone. Similarly, in case of alarm pheromones, this is very interesting. Here you can see the picture. What is happening here? The bee is stinging the human. Why? Alarm. That means, you see, suppose one honey colony is there, comb is there, and someone has tried to just disturb those bees. Then what will happen? One bee will go out, the worker bee. She will sting the human being or whatever the natural enemy is. So that what will happen? When she will try to come out, this bee will die, but the sting will be attached to the human being. So this pheromone will produce the alarm to this whole colony. So that what will happen? All other bees will come to sting this human. Okay, that means they are just protecting their colony, still being sacrificing their life. They will die, they know. Okay, but still they are just penetrating the stylet, not stylet. They will just penetrate the stings. So that what will happen? The pheromone will be just kept on the natural enemies, so that to this pheromone all will be attracted and they will just fight with the natural enemies. Okay, so this is one example of alarm pheromone. Similarly, in case of ants, they have the dolichodarin ants. Okay, they release some fruity odor by the worker that result in a erratic behavior of worker. They will be totally alarmed to fight. Understood?